Hi everyone, welcome back to another Tuesday tax tip. Last week we checked out some of the notable changes to 1099s, and this week I'm going to offer up some tips to the shared economy. Specifically, I'm talking about Uber and Lyft drivers. Tracking and filing taxes for an Uber or Lyft driver is actually pretty straightforward. I should know, my wife has actually done both in the past. One of the things that I learned is that it's fairly common to be driving for both services at once. In fact, you know you have a serious driver on your hands if they have two phones. Yeah, it happens more than you think. The other thing that I learned from this community of drivers is that they make filing their taxes way more complicated than it needs to be. So, here are some of my tips slash warnings. First, most of you will take mileage for the use of your vehicle. Uber and Lyft will track your miles in the app, so they make it pretty easy for you to know what your mileage is. But if you are, say, driving from your home to another part of town before you start the app, they don't track that. And if you're one of those dual drivers and you're using both services at once, be careful that you're not double counting any miles. They'll show up in both recaps. If you truly want to capture every mile, I would recommend getting a separate mileage app. Sticking with mileage, when you use mileage for auto expenses, you do not get other auto expenses, like, say, gas or repairs or insurance. These are actually factored into the IRS's mileage rate. You can still take other expenses, like if you offer refreshments or have to pay to clean up after a rider, but despite popular belief, most of the time, your phone is not an eligible expense. Absent driving, you're still going to have the phone, plus the IRS considers your first line as personal. At the end of the year, Uber and Lyft have annual recaps. These are great. They let you know the amount you were paid, the amount of fees that they took, and your mileage driven while in the app. There are exceptions, but for the majority of you, this recap is all you need to fill out your Schedule C. Then all you need to do is add any of those ancillary expenses, like those refreshments or cleaning expenses, and you should be all set. Oh, and for those of you who drive for both Uber and Lyft, you can combine those onto a single Schedule C. So obviously, how this tip will affect you depends on your particular sets of facts and circumstances, like do you drive for Uber or Lyft, and do you have any other circumstances surrounding that work? If you have any questions, please reach out to your tax advisor or feel free to contact me. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you join me next week for another Tuesday Tax Tip.